I have a confession to make. I'm directionally challenged. I think it happened actually right from birth. No, probably right from conception, and which would probably explain why I had to be delivered by cesarean section. I couldn't find my way out on my own. And this has caused some tension in our marriage. Kathy's always very concerned, or actually nervous, when I'm traveling alone, especially when I go to the airport by myself. Of course, she wonders if I'll ever find my vehicle again, but she's more concerned about what country do I end up in, and I might text her from another place. But this whole issue came to a head one time when I was driving my teenagers to school. You see, in my mind, as soon as I get into the car, I go into autopilot. I'm either driving to church or to work. And so I was driving them to school, but in my mind, of course, I was going to church. And when I came to the intersection where I had to turn left to go to the school or straight to go to the church, I, of course, was in the lane to go to church, and my kids start to shout at me, "Dad, turn left, school, school, school." And so, of course, I paid attention and turned left. And they said, like, why? Why do you can't remember where we're going? I said, well, because I'm a big picture thinker. I'm always thinking big picture ideas when I'm driving. And then my teenage son said to me, but you need to know where you are in the big picture. And then it struck me. I was too big. I wasn't specific enough. But what this got me thinking of was, where do you think you fit in God's big picture with you? Where do you fit into the kingdom? You see, most of my adult life, I had a distant relationship with God. There wasn't a heart connection. I just thought that I was a entry in his database, and so when I died, I'd go to heaven because I'd be ticked off on the list. But there was nothing really close. And so I really didn't know where I fit in the kingdom until one night at the end of a church service during the prayer time, I had a vision, a picture of Jesus coming right up to me, and we were nose to nose. I was uncomfortably close to the Son of God, and we were nose to nose, eyeball to eyeball, and he said something to me that changed my life, just 2 words. He said, "Hello, Grant." Now that may not seem terribly profound to you, but it was life-changing for me, because for the first time in my life, I realized that Jesus knew my first name. I thought I was just an entry in his database. I didn't realize he knew me that well. And then he went on to tell me how much he enjoys spending time with me and talking to me and listening to me. It completely changed my life, because then I saw where I fit in his big picture. And I want you to realize today that you're not an accident. You have an important role in God's kingdom. He knows your first name. There's a divine destiny on your life. He has given you gifts, talents, anointing, and potential that you haven't yet discovered. Now, of course, Satan doesn't want you to discover that. So he fills you with lies to say you're insignificant, you don't matter, God really doesn't care, he uses more gifted people. And that is a lie. You have gifts and anointings and treasures that you haven't yet discovered. You have an important place in the kingdom, and the closer you get to Jesus, the more you'll discover it. So I want to encourage you today that you have a role, you have a place in the kingdom. Just get closer to Jesus and it will unfold before you. And if this is your first visit here, you need to get my free self-assessment guide. And to do that, just subscribe to our weekly email newsletter by filling out the subscription form, which you can access by clicking on the link on this page, Join the Transformation Movement. And I'll talk to you again next week, but this week, realize how important you are in the kingdom.